Alright, we got two more reactions we have to go, and then that's it. So this time we're going to react into No One Cares About Men's Mental Health. And it is by Derek Silbert. Now, I think I heard how a lot of people, probably in real life or in social medias, that say that they never care about any men's mental health because, like, yeah, it may something to do like dehumanize harmed, or I guess control women or something, or else something bad. But come on, we all know that most people that never like dehumanize or anything that may have something to do with I don't know, by their own feelings, that more important than women's mental health. Well, let's just say they don't have like a woman's mental health month, but they only have on May, last month, when it's mental health month, besides for men and women at the same time. And they get so very insecure about that because I don't know, like, I get it that you've gotten past, like, you've gone through like a toxic relationship with your families and all that, but it's not about them, it's about me. You know, my life, is in danger of the situation that is happening. And you know most people that really care about men's mental health throughout in on June. And it's a lot of things to it. So whatever some people excuse of for not wanting to support for men's mental health, even though they've been going through a lot. I mean, I don't know how, but I'm just tired of all the hate and all that. It's how it is. So yeah, but yeah. So let's look at it. Let's check it out in 5, 4, 3, 2.
I don't think a lot of people understand how high the burden of performance is on men, including some guys out there. Because we have the mentality of whatever we're going through, just put your head down and grind. Even if it's me against the world, I'm still gonna win. And an easy reflection of this is the popularity of self-improvement content. The reason why self-improvement content is so popular for guys is because we're always pushing ourselves in every aspect of life. Just trying to improve, trying to be successful so that we can provide, so that we can find someone, so that we're not lonely, to have kids with, to have a family with, to be respected, and in order to validate our existence. Like as guys, right, we don't care if the girl that we love isn't successful. But deep down inside, we know that it's not exactly the same the other way around, whether they want to admit it or not. And I'm not saying that there aren't girls out there that aren't dating bums. But let's be honest, right? The divorce rates that are mainly initiated by women is heavily tied to finances. They're just biologically wired to seek out their best option. They need someone to protect and provide during a woman's most vulnerable state, which is during pregnancy, and to raise their child. So we know that it's not the case that one gender is just more shallow than the other. It's just that it's tied to our biological imperatives. But because of this, right, guys are always pushing themselves, trying to be strong, whether it's doing combat sports and getting your ass kicked in sparring till you're bleeding, or going to the gym, tearing your muscles apart over and over again until you're injured, or trying to work on your confidence, being able to speak well, being able to carry yourself well, have charm, have game, etc. Like if you're with your girl, right, and some shit happens, let's say you get a flat tire, immediately the responsibility falls on you just because you're the guy. We will stand there like an idiot trying to Google or YouTube, just trying to figure it out, just out of sheer responsibility just because we're the guy. But here's the thing, right? As much as I agree with the hyper individualistic mindset of push through everything, thug it out, man up, me against the world, it's also important to know that you're not alone and to talk to someone, especially when you're going through it. Because a lot of guys suffer in silence, living lives of quiet desperation, which is why self-deletion rates are so high. And again, normally I'm of the thug it out mentality as well, right? I always believe that therapy is gay, that talking to someone in a turtleneck for $150 an hour doesn't change your situation. Like, no matter how much you talk about something, at the end of the day, the answer is still the same. Like, whenever you're going through something, just work until you don't really have time to sit and think and to wallow in that negative state. And just dwell on those emotions and those thoughts until eventually you improve your life situation and you're no longer in that negative state. That's kind of how I generally believe that you'd get through self-diagnosed depression. I mean, that's always been my solution, and it's worked. Whenever I was in a negative state, I would just put my head down, shoulders up, and grind. And this is something that I've not necessarily changed my mind on. Like, I still believe that. But now that I'm a bit older, I can understand and empathize with the other side. Because the reality is, sometimes it's just not as simple for some people to work and go to the gym. Like, the reality is, some guys do delete themselves as hard as they've tried. It's like you feel the weight of the world and the burden of performance to achieve. And when your reality doesn't meet that expectation, a lot of guys break. Whether you're working your ass off, your girl broke up with you, your wife doesn't love you, no one respects you, no one cares about you, and life is hitting you hard. And not to mention, that burden of performance is just getting higher and higher just due to the nature that society's moving in. Like, there's an endless amount of problems you can name, from inflation to the devaluation of a degree to the housing market to the job market to the dating market to loneliness to social media. Like, you can go on and on, right? Life is not easy, and I mean, it's not supposed to be, right? Especially as a guy. But the reality is, the burden of performance has never been higher, and so have the expectations of women because of social media. The dating market is globalized, and your competition is no longer limited to the people in your community. It's not just the people you see at your grocery stores or at church or her coworkers that are hitting on her. You're competing against the world, and you're competing against her social media feed. Because all it takes is one DM, and if his profile is slightly more interesting than yours, then it's a wrap. I've said this before, but for a girl that grew up on Instagram, right? It's hard to look at the guy working a 9-to-5 at Home Depot driving a 2002 Toyota Corolla and look at him as a viable option, even though he's probably a good, honest, hardworking man. And of course, on top of that, social media isn't real, right? Because all you see are wins, so you're going up against her false perception that's been curated by social media. Like, generally speaking, what most guys want is a girl that's somewhat pretty, somewhat cute, that's gonna be loyal, and a good wife and mother. That's pretty much it. Again, it's not exactly the same the other way around. Trust me, I've been on enough dates to know that the bare minimum isn't exactly the bare minimum. And I'll tell you guys this, right? In the past decade, I've probably cried one time. And that one time was unfortunately in front of my girlfriend at the time. And that's the first and last time that I'm doing that. But I was in a situation where I physically couldn't remove myself, and the tears kind of just came out. Like, trust me, I didn't want to. It's not like I wanted to cry in front of my girl. I was just in a tough situation, and I'll never forget the look on her face. I always laugh when a girl says, "I like it when a guy cries. I like it when my man cries." Because it's like, no, you like seeing your man out of character. You only think that it's attractive is if him crying is a rare occurrence or not how he normally is. If he was some dude crying every other week, you would lose attraction instantly. What you like is this romanticized idea of a guy with a hard exterior showing his soft side that's rare. Not a guy that's just soft all the time. You like seeing the contrast, not the actual guy crying. And this is why we don't take it serious when a girl says it's okay to cry as a guy. But if your homie tells you it's okay to cry, then we know that's real because it's coming from another dude. It's like, no matter what a girl says, we know it's always going to be the case where you want a guy to be strong. A man that can be their pillar and their rock, right? And that's never going to change. Again, because it's tied to our biological imperatives. And this doesn't mean you can't open up or share the burden or pain. We just know on a biological level that it's not conducive to our innate desire to reproduce. And if you disagree, next time you go on a date, you could try to trauma dump on her a little and see how that goes. And my point in saying that is that if you're going through something, it's okay to go talk to someone. It's okay to go talk to one of your homies. Because guys will understand no matter where you are in life. You could be up or you could be down in life. 90% of guys know what it's like to be invisible, to be unimportant, to feel like you have to shoulder the burden and weight of the world, to know what it's like to get your heart broken. Like, most of us have had a very similar life path growing up. Unless you grew up like extremely talented or extremely good looking or getting all the girls, starting point guard, starting quarterback, the 4.0 student athlete. Unless you're one of those guys, but for the most part, we've all gone through the same experiences and felt those same emotions. Like, you don't gotta feel like you gotta suffer in silence and live a life of quiet desperation because you feel like so much of your existence is dependent on the value that you bring. Because of that, it's easy to feel like no one really cares about you or how you're doing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to pretend like it's not, right? If you don't have value to bring, then no one's really going to care about you. Especially not in the world that we live in. Like, there is a transactional element to most interactions and relationships that we have. The closest thing that we have to unconditional love is probably the love that you get from your mom. But other than that, no one really cares about you. It's like, yeah, okay, your mom cares about you, maybe your immediate friend circle or group. But other than that, if something happened to you, the world would just keep spinning. And sometimes all you need is someone to ask how you're doing. Not how your job is going, not how your goals are going, not how your career is going, not how school is going, not how your dating life is going, not how your money is, but how are you doing? Sometimes you just need someone to ask, how are you doing as a person? And this is something as guys that's tough for us to have a conversation on. Because we don't want to be perceived as weak, we want to be strong. And you don't want to feel like you're burdening anyone else or no one really cares. And as guys, I think we got to be more open to being there for each other in this way. Like, don't get me wrong, we all understand, right? But we're not very open to having that conversation. And I did a poll on who you guys go to when you're going through something difficult in life, and the results were pretty much what I expected. Most guys don't go to anyone. Most guys just thug it out. And going to your girl or wife was all the way at the bottom, like 2%. Because even for me, right, and I'm gonna be honest, this is why I'm kind of a hypocrite as well. But I mean, most videos I make is like talking to myself as well. But I personally couldn't imagine going up to one of my homies and saying, yo, I'm kind of going through it. Like, this happened recently and I'm in a bad mental state. But it's like, at the same time, I would also want someone that's going through it to be okay with coming to me. Which is why I'm kind of a giant hypocrite. But I think a lot of guys feel that way, where you would never go to someone else for your problems and share that pain or burden. But at the same time, you would also want your homies to be okay with going to you if they were going through something. So then ironically, because of this, we all kind of just end up keeping to ourselves, just suffering in silence or living lives of quiet desperation, and kind of just feel this responsibility to carry that weight just because you're the man. And listen, I don't have the answers, but deleting yourself and giving up is definitely not it. And I can't say for certain that as long as you don't give up, everything's going to work out and pay off, because that would be disingenuous. The reality is, a lot of people don't get that fairy tale ending. Like, a lot of good people meet unfortunate ends. Whether you're working your entire life 9 to 5 and all of a sudden lose everything, get divorced, etc. Maybe you went through some tragedy, maybe life hit you in some way. Oftentimes life isn't fair, and we know this, right? So I can't just say, oh, as long as you don't give up, that everything is going to work out and be okay. But what I can guarantee is that if you do give up, then it's 100% over. Then there's absolutely nothing left. Like, I know that it can be hard sometimes, and that life can be heavy, and that we're all stressed about a million different things. You know, just trying to do everything and trying to handle everything on your own. And you feel like you don't really have anyone else to go to, and you feel like the walls are closing in. No matter what situation in life you're in, just know that you're not alone, and that there's always going to be a reason to keep fighting. And if you need to, try to share that pain, try to share that burden. Maybe it doesn't even have to be someone close to you. Like, really try to talk to someone if you really need to. Don't feel like you gotta shoulder everything. And no matter where you are in your journey, just know that God will always love you. And that's something that's never gonna change. Anyways, hopefully you got something from that. This was just kind of something that I wanted to say. Just something that was on my mind. Maybe someone can benefit from hearing this. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for listening. I love you. I appreciate you. With that said, make sure you stay true. I'll talk to you real soon.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, cause most of things that was very difficult to know is that it would be very hard to feel very, try to talk one of your friends or your loved ones that have been having that you're having some very problems from, you know, I guess like situation like that, and I mean I know you get like depressed a lot because I know it's very weird. You say like, I love when he cries, and I mean that's a messed up thing that is happening because it feel like nobody else would, you know, like I said, nobody else would care about how you feel or anything like that because like I told them, like they'll be like a heartless bastards because they don't care about any mental illness people that going through it, cry a lot, get anxiety and all other stuff that may have a problem with it because it never gonna be the same ever. I mean it might I know most of the people who are actually positive that really would care is hey, what's wrong? I'll talk to you, I'll listen, I'll understand and all that. That's what I really wanted because even though that it's so hard to find a very, very positive people out there that's, I don't know, but somehow there's a lot of hate out there, or any other negative people that have a problems of any mental health besides for men and women out there. And it's so hard to notice how you've been going through it, even though you feel every burden, like myself, because I always feel every burden every time, because even though that I try so very hard to, like, explain that one over and over again, feel repeated. I mean, I don't want to like repeat it at the same time, because I mean, I don't want. I mean, it will never go away. Even though I don't want to cry, in front of my families or friends, because I know they'll get mad at me. Even though I get depressed a lot, they'll get mad at me for something I didn't do. When it comes for a lot of struggling situations. And that's what I was afraid of sooner or later, because like you dealing with a lot of stress. And even though even though I got broke up, or I get judged, everybody hates me and call me names and call me ugly and all that type of stuff. It's a lot of things to it because of it, and I don't know, like, it's a lot of struggling situation like this, sooner or later, and it'll still never be the same throughout currently. So yeah.
Well,
But yeah, man, let me know, comment down below what y'all think about this. Also, if you really care about men's mental health, then you gotta prove it. You gotta prove it. Comment down below if you really care about men's mental health, along with other men mental health awareness month. Let me know, man, and yeah, I'll see you next video.